And our top story today is the Delphi murders trial. We are bringing in our legal analyst and expert, Katie Jackson-Lindsay, for her insight on what happened in court today. So, Katie, we're so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go in order, and so let's kind of start with the morning testimony today. That's where a box of evidence that was gathered at the scene was brought in, and it detailed the girls' clothing. They kind of talked about the condition of the clothing and also a bullet that was gathered there. What's important about this, and what should we and what should the jurors be looking for when this evidence display and introduction is happening?
Well, it's a number of things. First of all, it's a part of the story, as we've talked about with many of the pieces of evidence, but it also goes to highlight their injuries. We learned that the clothing was bloody. There's an overarching thing we should always be looking at, and that's how the evidence was collected, the integrity of the evidence, and how it's documented. So each of those little pieces may seem like not a really big deal, but they're all a part of a bigger picture.
Okay, so another thing that jurors saw today was video. So they've seen video on one of the girls' phones, and we've shown this video to folks before, and they've kind of given some parameters for how the video can be seen and interpreted by jurors. What is notable to the video to you?
Well, I think what was notable today was that we learned with certainty that there is some audio from the girls on the video, and maybe even some portions of the video where you may be able to see a glimpse of the girls. From a just practical standpoint, that makes it really real. That puts the jury in the scene, in the moment, in the last moments of those girls' lives. So it's really emotional. But again, it's also a big part of the story in terms of setting the scene for how it happened. And allegedly, the killer is in that video, right? And so that's pretty significant to either side in terms of the identity of that man.
Yes, and this video before now has been limited, was released by investigators really on a loop, you know, of this man saying something that was interpreted audio enhanced to be down the hill. But this is something that they really wanted the jury just to hear it and look at it in its raw and not this edited version.
Exactly. That's how it should be. The jury should be able to draw its own conclusion about what's being said, about what they see, without any testimony being related to that.
Yeah.
Anything else stand out to you about today's proceedings?
Sure. I think we found out today exactly how the evidence has been mishandled or not handled in the way that one would expect for evidence from such a serious crime scene. We also learned that GPS data wasn't checked for the phone. We've learned that there were so many extractions from the phone that could have led to the integrity of that phone evidence being compromised. So we saw a lot of highlights from the defense today related to them really attacking the credibility of this evidence, including the bullet. And then we heard that major quote, "I wouldn't be surprised to see a bullet round anywhere in Indiana," which was huge.
Right, and that was in a response to hunting in the area and that it would be common to find something like that in the woods.
Right.
All right, Katie Jackson-Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We do appreciate your insight so much.
Yeah.